LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SOF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SOF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SOF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SOF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health, intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at sofmissions.org.
For your post assignment, all units proceed to your post assignment.
All right. This ain't just a show. This is a platform. Veteran built, battle tested. Welcome to the MisFitNation. Yeah! Mic in the room, built from boots on the ground, now we breaking the rules. 2 vets, 1 leader, painting the sound, turn scars into sermons, let them echo around. Artists with truth, musicians with fire, actors backstage chasing something higher. Entrepreneurs bleeding just to get ahead. If you fought for your dream, yeah, you are what you said. If they told you no, if you still came back, if you fell to your knees but you stayed on track, this is your voice, this is your flame. Say it loud, remember the name. No salvation, just elevation. We're running in while the world second guess. Gold star names carved deep in the soul. Your story ain't over, we carry the whole. Coaches teaching mindset, breaking the chains, turning barely alive into owning the pain. Truth over polish, scars on display. If it's real, let it bleed. That's the misfit play. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels close. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels close. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels close. It's Aubrey right now, with more than you know. 9888, don't walk alone. Veterans press one, bring it home. Don't trade forever for tonight. You're still needed in this fight. We are the Misfit Nation, built from scars and dedication. We rise again. From the fire, from the fight to the end. We are the Misfit Nation. Every voice is vindication. From the silence to the scream, we're strong. Welcome home, you belong. You belong. Get up, you belong. Oh wait, you. Oh wait, get up, you belong.
Woo! All right. Welcome back to the Misfit Nation and the Sunday after dinner show. We know you have other places you can be tonight, but you choose to be with us. There's no football on. NASCAR just ended. Reddick has won 2 in a row. Michael Jordan is going nuts with 2 wins this early in the season. And the big news of the day, after 46 years of waiting, the United States men's hockey team won the gold medal. Congratulations to the men. The women won on Thursday. So we beat Canada in two big hockey games. We took the hockey trophies home. Congratulations and go USA. Tonight, we have a great guest coming on. He is a U.S. Army veteran, which makes him above the rest. He's a leader, author, motivational speaker, and founder of Warrior Dad Stories. He has dedicated his life to developing leaders, both in uniform and at home, blending discipline, resilience, and positivity into a powerful leadership philosophy built on trust and legacy. So without further ado, let's welcome TJ Baird to the Misfit Nation show. Welcome, TJ.
Thanks, brother. Really appreciate it. And by the way, awesome opening song. Loved it.
Thank you. Hope the dog liked it, and I didn't see him bobbing his head back there, but hopefully he enjoyed it.
I got my earphones on, so he's just finished nesting and hanging out tonight with me.
You see going across the bottom of the screen, I put your trophy husband thing on there from your LinkedIn, so I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. So that's awesome that you have that there.
Goes along with my shirt.
There it is. And you have a family legacy of service as well. Your wife is still serving. Your brother, I'm not sure if he's still in or not. He also served your twin brother. So that's a legacy of service right there, and that's awesome. And I thank you all for your service.
Thanks for yours too, man. Appreciate it.
So I gave the nickel intro on you there, not even an elevator pitch. I want you to introduce yourself to the Misfit Nation because you'll do it way better than I do.
Oh my God. Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot. I'm TJ Baird, 32 years in the Army. I just retired about 7 months ago. And now I'm an author. I'm getting ready to publish a Memorial Day weekend for the book called Warrior Dad, a collection of illustrated odes. Now I'm also an award-winning poet. That was a lot of fun. And enjoying life in Nebraska, being the trophy husband for my wife. It has been an amazing journey. And I will tell you, Rich, from Fort Bragg to here was our very first PCS move together. After 13 years of marriage.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Holy crap. That's a long time at Bragg. How long were you at Bragg? 13 years?
No. So I was at Bragg for about 6 years in my early part of my career, and then went through an assessment program, stepped away from the traditional force for a while. Is where I met Joanne. Eventually we got married, and then right as we left the unit, it was just been straight. She would go before me, then I would caught up back up to her at Fort Bragg, and then I actually drove her to the airport for her to deploy while I PCS'd out to Texas. Oh, wow. And the night before I deployed for a year, she came home, saw me off, and we were just playing tag team ever since. And I said, it's time to retire. We got to get the band back together. And it's been amazing. It's been an amazing 7 months. It's been an amazing time with my, just being married to my wife and being with her. But the last 7 months, it was just great catching up and just being together. It has been fantastic.
I bet it's awesome when they say absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Oh, yeah.
It's forced absences for both of you, and you're both wearing uniform and going different directions all the time.
Yeah,
that has to make it harder. And a lot of people don't understand the strain that goes on the dual military family when that happens. And you guys are persevering through it. So that's awesome.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, it was good. We made it happen. It was very, very disciplined what we did. When she was in Korea, I would call her at 5 a.m. on walking macaroni. And then she would text me when she was home, and when she got home that her morning, my evening, and then we would do date nights for her, like on a Saturday night. It would be a Saturday morning for me, and we would do Peloton date rides. We would get those scheduled as well, so we would ride together. So we did everything we could to stay together. So it was not easy, but like you said, we did make it work. And for all our teammates out there that are geographically separated, regardless if you're military or not. At the end of the day, be your spouse, partner, whatever your vernacular choice is, be their greatest champion and talk about them in the most positive light every time, because I'll tell you what, that makes it so much better.
Definitely does. And you guys definitely have the formula for it. You might want to make that your next book, Surviving in the Dual Military Lifestyle, or any lifestyle. Tips in the military. I want to first off thanks Eric for bringing us together. If he's on, I'm not sure if he's on yet, but when he does join us, it'll be great to say thank you for connecting us, and hopefully the next Baird that comes on the family will be your wife as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, so she's tracking. She'll get connected with you, and then for Eric too. Hey, congratulations, granddad, fantastic. So his daughter and my daughter are really good friends. It was phenomenal news that she just had her baby, and he is a new grandpapa. So congratulations, Eric, to you and your entire family.
That's outstanding, and I'm sure he's going to have a lot of fun with that.
Oh yeah, man! I can't wait to be a granddad. Spin them up and give them back. Here you go.
Sugar them up, and go. Sugar up, and go.
Right.
Oh, it's 10 minutes till mom gets here. Here's a Hershey bar. Have a good time.
Right. Get it.
So tell us a little about your service. So what was your MOS, and what was your biggest accomplishment during service, or your biggest, the biggest thing that you found in yourself during service?
Yeah. So I'm an Intel professional by trade. So came to the 98 Golf Electronic Voice Interceptor, turned into a 35 pop a little bit later down the line. And like my wife, I was going to get out after my first 4-year contract, get out, go to college, make something of my life. That's what I really wanted to do. And then about 3-ish years into my first enlistment, we were in the back of someone's house in North Carolina, Fayetteville, after a hurricane, and just helping them, all these people, right, get cleaned up and everything else like that. Obviously, guard duty against looters and everything. And I just remember this, I say old lady at the time. She's probably my age now, as I am now, right? But she came out to the yard, had some tea for us, and just said, hey, I really thank you all for what you all are doing. That means a lot to me. And it hit me right then and there. And, oh my gosh, this is really cool. This is what service really means. And then really at that point, I reflected back on my grandfather, who served in World War II in the Pacific War Theater on the USS the Sullivans. Right before I went to basic training, he never really talked about his time in the war, but he did tell me right before I left to go to basic training is, just remember this, not self, but others. And I didn't realize what he was talking about until that time. And then it just hit me. I said, you know what? I made a decision right there. I'm going to re-enlist. And my goal is to help others grow, help others be successful. And I've had a bunch of fun moments in my career. But I would tell you what, probably one of the coolest moments I just had just a couple of days ago, a young sergeant, Jenna Ingalls. She is now a Warrant Officer 1. She just graduated on Thursday. She is the Distinguished Honor Grad and Leadership Award winner. And I want to say PT Award winner because she's a PT stud. And I will tell you, having that conversation with her, just talking with her and her husband, who's also amazing. He's a Ranger qualified. Just got out of the Army and doing great things over at his new job at NGA, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, as a senior analyst. Watching both of them grow and just talking to her and just listening to her stories and as she's growing as a leader and all of the folks that I've mentored over my past, and I still mentor today. I just want to say thank you for them for teaching me, allowing me to learn how to be a coach and a mentor, and just allowing me to watch them be part of their lives. And to all the folks that have mentored me, thank you. You set the stage and allowed me to learn from you to help others grow as well. So that when you look at what I like to do, I want to make leave a legacy of unstoppable leaders, and that's continues to be my goal. And that's really kind of the long and short of 32 years in my career. We could swap stories all night long, man. We've had some pretty good ones.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my platoons from 2003 and 04 in Ramadi. A lot of young soldiers in that platoon, and we were talking the other day. We have a Facebook group chat, and
Nice.
We were chatting, and they were talking about how much they learned from us. And I just sat back watching and listening to it, and I finally chimed in and said, as leaders, we don't look for anything other than to make sure you're successful in your careers. We know that when we're in the moment, we may be the ass that you thought we were. We may be Satan or whatever you think we are at that time. It's not till many years later, like it was just the other day, where we hear that, hey, you did good by us. And it's rewarding to hear that later, but we don't look for that in the moment. We look to make sure that A, they come home, and B, they have all the tools they need to be better than me when I leave the Army. And when I hear them say thank you and this is what you did for me, it swells your heart and makes you feel great as a leader.
Oh yeah, it was, again, it was amazing. And as Joanne and I mentor a lot of the same folks, and they're about the same age as my daughter, so there are kind of our adopted children, so to speak, and not to say we treat them as children, but to take the time and a lot of the energy to watch them succeed. And then at the same time, I wouldn't say take responsibility for failures, but sharing that with them and then help them, guide them through all these challenges they may be facing, professional, personal, whatever it is, and then give them the resources they need if they need it, whatever. But as a mentor and a leader, coach, whatever you want, again, whatever your vernacular is, you can't just worry about the successes. You can't just focus on that. You just have to understand too, hey, when someone takes a knee, someone falls, falters, whatever, you're right there with them, supporting them, encouraging them. And encouraging isn't just pandering to somebody, because you don't want to do that, because that would ruin the sympathy. Great book. Radical Candor, I think, is the book, but the ruin of sympathy is the theme of the book. But you got to be there to encourage them. But in that encouraging, it might be a swift kick in the ass. To get them moving in the right direction that and that they know they needed to go to, then maybe just because of what they're going through, they don't want to face that demon just yet. But at the end of the day, you got to be there with them, and you got to help them through it. And again, so for all my teammates out there, thanks a lot for letting me be a part of that with you over these long years. And I can't wait to be a part of it over the next set of long years, as I'm now, again, a trophy husband extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire. That's nice.
You like that?
Adding more titles on it. You got to add that on your LinkedIn now.
Oh no, I'm good.
Yeah, you update that. That'll make a lot of people come to you.
Right? Like, what is this guy?
Awesome. Over your 32 years, you've seen many different leaders in the military, from when you were a young Joe on the street there, and then said you were going to do those 4 years, learned about what giving back was, and stayed in. How many different types of leadership styles did you go through before you found the right one for you?
I went through a bunch, and I mean a bunch. You got to think. So I was an E5, and my first sergeant at the time, Command Sergeant Major, retired, Bill Palmer, an amazing individual. We called him the cleaner. We can go. There's a long story behind that, but there was a reason why you call him the cleaner. You get in trouble, you're done. He's cleaning your clock, right, kind of thing. Very professional guy, though. Never cussed, never screamed. An amazing man. Saw something in me. Maybe a platoon sergeant as an E5. And really, right when I did that, I went from a team leader to a platoon sergeant. And at that level as a team leader, it's very directed leadership. This is what we're going to be doing. It's not micromanaging, but you're very directed, because it's a very small team of 3 individuals that includes you. And imagine going to a platoon of 30, 40 plus. And I had to learn how to stop being very directive, learn how to delegate, learn how to give out what I needed to do. And this was in conjunction with my platoon leader at the time, Steve Matoli, phenomenal man, former Ranger. As an E7, became an officer. And the best part about that guy is we were both in the same we're rival high schools. almost
Oh,
a
wow.
couple years apart. Oh yeah, so we hit it off great. He's an amazing cat, and so I had to learn right away that directed leadership does work on at certain times when you need it, but it cannot be your go-to all the time because it just doesn't work. It doesn't allow people to grow as leaders, and I had to learn that. It took me probably 6 months to probably closer to a year to really learn that, or to really to understand it, and then to put it into practice. It's years down the road. It doesn't happen like that. Even though you understand it, you say, hey, this is what I need to do. It still takes time to break away from the old habits to get into the newer habits. And so we look at it from delegation to coaching, mentoring, teaching. That's all part of it. There is some things about kind of an affiliative style of leadership where you get where something happens and you need to kind of do a kumbaya mode to get folks together. There's folks when it's, hey, a collaborative style of leadership where you need to get some great ideas from a host of different people. However, at the end of the day, as the leader, that cannot be your go-to as well, because then you're going to not stifle. You're just going to stall. You just, again, as a leader, you have to take that responsibility and make a decision, regardless of if people agree or disagree with it. You still have to make a decision that's best for the organization and the people as well that support that organization. So that's what I had to learn over the years.
Yep.
And so I've really, over, I'd say, probably the last 15-ish, 20 years of my career is on the coaching, teaching, and mentoring style is what I like to do. I do a commanding if and when needed. And obviously, a lot of that's really during a crisis, or if it's something that's happening right away, that's urgent. But I like to give people left and right limits, and just let them run and say, hey, here's what we'll like to see. Here's the idea that we have. Here's your left and right, because you need to have some guardrails, because if not, then it just gets a little too unruly. Once everything's set in place, you get a couple of touch points along the way, make minor course corrections, either as you need them as the leader, or as feedback comes back and says, hey, that's actually a better avenue. We want to take a look at that. Or if the organization makes a change, we got to make sure that we change with that as well to make sure it meets the same goals as the organization. So that, and then at the end of the day, I think a lot of people have heard this before. So I'll say it again: is let your folks surprise you. We have some pretty talented men and women out there, regardless of what organization you are. Let them shine, and then praise them along the way. And if you need to make corrections, take them on and say, hey, we got to make it this way, whatever it is. If it's something egregious, right? If it's not in a public forum as you're doing the, is your feedback or your touch point, yes, you can make the, touch points along the way. But if it's something I would say egregious, you push it off to the side. So you don't need to do that in front of God and everybody. That's poor leadership. That's something I had to learn too, right? These are learned behaviors from TJ Baird, right? People will tell you that, but until you get caught up in the moment, as we all do, we get caught up in the moment. We're human, and we all make mistakes. So just take it from the experienced guy. Best way to do any kind of corrective action is off to the side, not in front of God and everybody. There may be a time and place for that, but it's very, very few and very, very far between. But again, the majority of the time, let's take care of those off to the side. But other than that, let your people shine, and then push them to the front.
Yep. Push
them to the front. Be there for them, encourage them all the way. But if it's their project, and overall you're responsible for a lot, and you're leading a lot of different things. They're taking a lead on it to make sure that they are the ones getting the credit for the work that they've done, because they've earned it every step of the way. And I've seen some leaders not do that, and it's very, very disheartening, especially as one being a part of a project lead and the team not getting the recognition that they have earned. So I would just say to all the leaders out there, showcase your team, because they are freaking amazing. And if they're not, make them amazing.
There you go.
Yep.
That's the other part of your job. If they're not making those steps forward, help them.
Yep.
Show them the way. And most of us that were in the 90s, we learned two different leadership styles back then, because you still had some old hard chargers that were teaching us. And there's a lot of this teaching going on, and a lot of in your face stuff. And it wasn't until probably midway through my career where I learned that you can lead different ways, and you didn't have to do it that way. And there's lessons learned along the way that maybe would I have done them different, and would they have been successful? I don't know, but maybe I would have made a little better headway with some people, and they would have stayed in the military and been great leaders. And when you evolve as a leader, it's really eye-opening to see yourself evolve when you can take a step back and look what happened along the way. And I'm sure you've had a lot of those aha moments.
Oh yeah, and I will say too is as we encourage folks, we want to make them great leaders. There's also another side of that coin, and that's very difficult for a lot of leaders. That includes me too, right? Because it's a people business, and if we don't think it's a people business, we're wrong. It is letting someone go or telling them, hey, you are no, either let them go from the project, let them go from the organization, let them getting them out of the military. On my perspective, from a host of different reasons, whatever they are. Is one, there's a way to do it professionally, and it's okay to do that. It's okay to let folks go who are not meeting the mustard. You can, at some point, you can lead that horse to water. If they're not going to drink, if they're not going to be part of the team, they just refuse to do what you need them to do, then you got to, because there's an accountability piece. And if you are not being accountable or holding folks accountable, I should say that, the other folks in the team and the organization will see that and will come to resent that. And that also has a negative effect across the entire force.
Yep.
And so again, there's a way to professionally let somebody go. You don't need to be a schmuck about it.
Right.
But you're right. Like I'll give you an example. I remember sitting around the table, and then hopefully at some point, then Colonel Laura Knapp was my brigade commander. We had a pretty significant issue going on inside the brigade, and people get fired up about, hey, we're going to do this, and this. Just be professional about it. Just remember, this is a human being on the other end. People are looking at us and watching us take care of this individual, and that is leaving the military, and not in a very good way. They were getting bounced into Leavenworth, but there's still a professional way of doing it.
Yeah.
And they'll see that and say, hey, you know what? There's still some dignity and respect when you talk to people. You don't scream and this or anything else. But in the day, we moved this person out to go to the jail. What I had to remind everybody is it's still a human being, regardless of what they did. And then inside this room over here, we can vent all we want. Once we leave this room, we have got to ensure that we are leading at a level that folks respect us for, because if something happens to somebody else, or if something happens to any one of us, God forbid, we would also like to be treated that way as much as possible. Some people may not. Lord, some people, it might be tough for a lot of folks. It may be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people.
Yes.
But in the day, though, you can professionally move someone out of an organization. Again, that's a very extreme case. So I was talking a very extreme case. You get everything from like the very extreme all the way down to some of the minimal. That still gets folks out of there. But there are ways to do it, and folks are looking at us because we're, as a leader, is very tough because you're at the top and everybody is looking at you. And a lot of people are trying to figure out how you're going to handle the problem, and then that's going to build trust in others to come to you. And that's why I had to remind others, because someone had to remind me of that too years ago in my career. So again, everything that you and I will talk about tonight, Rich, I know you've been through a lot of the same challenges as well as a leader, and everything is learned because we have made mistakes as leaders, and this is great. I'm glad we're out here talking about it, because then people say, oh, okay, they're saying a lot of stuff and it resonates with people. But if we've been through it, the answer to that is yes. I would not have been able to tell you these stories and maybe brought up all these things in my past to other leaders, because we lived through that. We made those mistakes, and we were called to the carpet along the way to make sure that we do not do those again, and then help, again, and adjust who we are as leaders so we can teach others to do the same thing. So again, it's all experiential learning. And it's all human business.
And I mean, I learned a lot. I evolved, I like to say, along the way as a leader, and I'm still evolving now. I still learn. I try to learn something new every day, and learn different ways to do things, different approaches. When me and Eric were together in the Spartan Leadership Program, I learned other ways to approach people there as well, because no two people are the same. And you have to, once I learned that no two soldiers were the same, everything was just gravy, because now I'm treating each soldier differently, but the same at the same time. They're approaching each one differently, but treating them all the same and getting the same results and making sure they're all pushing forward. And I liked earlier you mentioned surprises, and we always got surprises from our soldiers. I told this to my soldiers the other day in the same chat group. I said, every day in the Army, you can have three things. You can have some dull moments. You can have some things that are tedious. You can have some things that really piss you off. And then you're going to have something that makes you laugh so hard that you're probably going to cry a little bit. And that's every day in the Army. That's why it was so much fun having a job like that. That was really a kid's job for 22 years of my life. And then having to find that grown-up gig when I got out. But the soldiers will surprise you. Are there any funny surprise stories that you had along the way that you can share?
I've had what's up? Yeah, I've had a bunch. So I've had one that was like a solo surprise story, but I will tell you, where was I? I was a cadre for an event, and I just remember a couple of folks going in the wrong direction. Everybody peeled off where they were supposed to go on the right trail. The two of the folks just kept going, and they were pretty far away. So I had to run up and down a couple of ridge lines, trying to yell at them. We're at altitude, and finally caught up with them. And I just remember the guy just turning around at me, and as he's looking at me, we're in a big scree pile, and you're not, as a cadre, you're not supposed to show emotion, not supposed to do any of this other stuff. I just remember him turning around and then just losing his balance, just going feet over ass all the way down the bottom of the hill, and I was like, oh my god, and so I've just run for a little bit. I got a little back on and everything. I had to turn around. I was laughing so hard. I was like, man. And I could see him tumble down. He gets up. He's like, I'm okay, blah, blah. And I turn around. I was like, dude. And I was like laughing at the hill because obviously you can't show them like, you laughing at them. I was like, oh my God, dude, what do we do? So finally, okay, take a deep breath. I was like, take a deep breath. So I turn around and say, hey, all right, guys, here's a trail, get back that way and just loop it around. You're the only two out here because you think you're in the lead and you are now behind everybody. So y'all need to catch up. So that's kind of one surprise moment. There are many in my life that I just remember that because just watching someone turn around, this look on the face, like, what are you doing here? And all the way down the hill. I'm like, oh my God. Sorry, dude. Sorry.
I had a young sergeant when I was in Kandahar in 2010-11. And he was supposed to be manning the Sapphire camera at night, looking down into the village so we can see what's going on and make sure no one's doing bad things, nefarious guys. So I decided to take a walk around and check towers, and I walk up on him and I see lights like blinking. I said, what's going on? There's no way you can see the camera if lights are blinking. I get up there and the dude's naked dancing with chem lights like he's in a rave. I said, what are you doing? I was bored, Sergeant. I just had to do something.
I gotta stay awake, man.
You gotta be dressed, man. We're in combat. And a few days later we had a urinalysis and he's in the porta potty and Mass Sergeant was supposed to be his observer. And he's standing on top of the toilet inside there naked and trying to pee in the cup while the sergeant's looking at him. I said, man, you got to start wearing clothes, brother. You have to start wearing clothes. No one can take this every day. I mean, that's the surprises you get from people.
I love it. I mean, you're right. You're like, hey, man, love it.
Just clothes for a reason.
Right.
All right, we got a question.
Having run a bunker during mortar fire for a long time. A friend of mine yanked me out of my bed in the middle of a mortar fire. Just slept through like the first 2 hours of it. Really tired.
Wow.
And so I just grabbed my kid. I'm in just shorts, t-shirt, and some flip flops, and then you grab everything, and run down put everything on in the bunker. Yeah, you definitely need to be dressed because that'd have been terrible if I was nude and like. Don't have time to put stuff up on my arm. Yeah, right. I don't want to be running the bunker with just my armor plate, helmet, and my weapon and sandals and nothing else. I don't think anybody. I didn't want that. No one else did either. So thank God I was in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt.
The things you can laugh about now.
Yeah. Right. Terrible.
Well, we got a question from the audience here. This is from @HelenWait. How did your leadership philosophy evolve after leaving active service, or has it?
Oh, no, that's a great question. So on LinkedIn, if you look at my About page, it actually talks about my 4 life principles. And I have been talking about them for close to 20 years now. And so they have not changed, my life and leader principles, because they're both the same. And there are 4 different things. It starts with smile, the world smiles with you. How do you be an inspirational leader for others? Be disciplined in everything that we do, thought or deed. Everything begins with thought. As a leader, what can we do today to make the team better tomorrow? And then this is our video match our audio. And then be fit, mind, body, and spirit. protect the mind, which is internally our most precious resource, strengthen the body that houses the mind, and spiritually, what gets us up every day, what drives us from a purpose-driven perspective to do what we want to do every day, personally and professionally, and then live life to its fullest. Have fun. Now, I will say this for all you listeners out there: make sure it's moral, legal, and ethical. I don't like. I tell us to a lot of folks, young soldiers, young, old, whatever, seasoned, maybe not old, seasoned. I don't need someone to call me and say, "Hey, we're living life to our fullest. Can you come pick us up from the jail?" No, I don't want that. So, but I close out is you do all four of those things, it'll loop you right back around to number one, and then a smile, and the world smiles with you. That is my number one. And if I had to cut everything out except for that one, I will always keep smile, because that has been keeping me going through some pretty dark times in my life, and has helped me not only through my life, but helped me reach out to others as well. No matter what, even when it's the darkest time, there is still hope. Even though you may not see it, but if you have built up enough chips for others to come and help you out and say, "Hey, man, we're gonna bring you back to the light," kind of thing. We're gonna help you out of this well. It's been amazing. So again, those are my 4 life principles. They haven't changed at all. In fact, a lot of it's in my new book that's coming out, and that's why I live every single day. So when I talk about those 4 things. And then I open up to the floor, and every answer I give when it comes to any question revolves around one or all 4 of those at the same time. So, yeah, great question. Really, thank you for that. Thanks for letting me get that out there, too. That was way to softball that question up there. I love it. Thanks. Love it.
This might be a harder question for you here. This is from
okay.
Who's the better looking twin?
Okay, so if you want to know who @Super Twin is, I have an identical twin brother. And
I had a feeling.
Derek, I love you, brother. Right. So I'm going to read you this acclaim that my brother has for my book, and this should help you out. I've got the book right here. That's what I do. So here's the acclaim for my brother, if you don't mind me reading this.
Go ahead.
All right. It is: Tom is a grizzled veteran that has served our nation across the globe for over 32 years. And this powerful poetry in odes tells a story of its time and service, where it encompasses a range of emotions that are heartfelt, loving, cathartic folks have experienced several walks of life. Signed, Derek Baird, a.k.a. the better-looking twin. I hope that answers you, brother.
That's outstanding.
Love it.
And thanks for joining us tonight.
Yes, thanks, man. It's awesome. He's at a friend's house right now. They're doing letting the dogs. I think it's a puppy rumble is what it is right now at my brother's friend's house.
Outstanding. I have that at my house every night. So
love it.
Yes.
This is my puppy rumble.
Yeah, that's what I'd love to have right there. One that's calm, cool, and collective. We got another question while you were answering that one, another one came in. So here we go.
Okay.
This is from @Dixon Carroll. What does discipline of thought, word, and deed look like in daily life? Thank you.
Yeah, that is a great question. Okay, so let me define discipline here. So when I talk about discipline here, it's not obedience. And if you ever hear my wife talk, she's like, when we talk about the discipline piece of it, yes, does obedience kind of sometimes, or does discipline sometimes talk about obedience? Yes. But for me, is discipline and thought. Number one is I've got a plan for the week. So am I disciplined in? I'm a trophy husband, so I'll just use this as an example. I have a workout. Right, I do, right. So my wife says I can get fired for being a trophy husband, maybe not a husband, but I can lose the trophy status. So I got to work out. I've got the things I need to do. So I've got a calendar, so I get up every morning. So my discipline is, okay, in thought, I need to here's my objective. I got to stay a trophy husband. So I've got a workout window, and I got to meet that workout window. So that's what I do. So I've got a couple hour block that I do whatever I need to do that day. And so for my discipline and thought is, all right, what do I need to do? I got to get my workout in. How do I do it? What's my action, my word, my deed? The deed really, because again, word and deed are interchangeable. It may not, for this one is the deed. It's the doing of the action. So that's what I talk about for thought, word, and deed. I also meditate. And the reason I do meditate in the mornings, I do meta meditation. I just started really that program through the Peloton app. And what I like about the meta one is it's words of affirmation for yourself as the individual and then for others as well. And the reason I do that, because now I got the discipline of thought to do my meditation every morning. I wake up, hey, I got my morning things that I do. One is meditation right after I walk my dog, have a little bit of coffee, meditation. The words in that are words of affirmation for myself and for others. What I say for myself is I do beat myself up quite a bit. I am my own worst critic, and I beat myself down. I think a lot of people out there can understand that, maybe do that with themselves. And so through this meditation, there are words of affirmation. They've got words, and I also sometimes substitute other phrases, whatever it is along the way that I've heard from other people, which I think resonate maybe during, for that day or what I think is going to come up during the day. And again, the deed is the doing of the action. And so for me, for those two different things, again, those are just two different examples. There are a host of different ones. But what I say is discipline starts with a thought. What are we going to do to make ourselves better, to help others make themselves better? That is what it's all about. And the thought piece has to come first. There has to be that thought of, I've got to do X, I've got to do Y, whatever it is. And again, at the end of the day, there's our video match our audio. So thought has to come first, and then word and deed, either combined, one or the other will come before the other one, whatever it is. But again, I always just say everything begins with a thought. How are we going to do things to make ourselves better, to make the team better? And for me, my team, right, my squad, my wife, my daughter, my family, that dude right there.
Him,
yeah. And then what I have found is me. How can I help myself out? Because if I am not able to do that, how can I help others? And that has probably been the most challenging thing for me, is those words of affirmation for myself. And so I've made a conscious decision to do that. And I've found that it has been helping me out quite a bit. So for all your listeners out there, meditation, thank my wife for she's been doing this for years. She's been encouraging me for a long time to do it. I finally, I broke down. I said, let me just give it a shot. And she's like, hey, man, it can't hurt you. I was like, okay. And I will tell you, it's been amazing. And then for me, I like the meditation because, again, I know it's a ramble on this one, but I can't say it enough. Just those words of affirmation for yourself will help drive you through the day, through whatever you've got going on in your life.
That's outstanding.
Thanks.
Meditation for me didn't start till after I got out either. At least I don't think I was meditating. Sometimes we're just power naps a little while on patrol and stuff. That can be called meditation. But it wasn't until I truly was completely out where I would sit in a dark room and just be alone with myself and just think and just think of other things, just clear my mind of other things, or go on a long run at those times before my knees started going bad, and just be one with myself and just erase everything around me and meditate different ways and find an inner peace through the things that I went through and the things that I want to get to. And meditation really helps a lot in that both those focuses.
Yeah. And I went through a TBI clinic down James A. Haley Hospital in Tampa at the VA center down there for a total of 10 weeks, 3 weeks last year. Well, I guess they're all last year, really. But 10 weeks total. And a lot of the guys and gals down there do a lot of meditation. So it was kind of neat to see that. You're not alone in all that. And on the discipline piece too, I talked a lot about some things about activities and working out and meditating when it comes to writing as well. So there are some days I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. It's 70 degrees outside in Nebraska. When it's 70 degrees in February, you want to spend some time outside because it'll quickly go to 2 degrees or -2 degrees, whatever it is. So what I do is I went out, it was 60-some degrees. I went outside during the day. It was beautiful. Took macaroni out. We spent the whole day outside. But in the evening, when Joanne went to sleep, I went back into my office here and started doing what I need to do. Some kind of catch up work. So discipline, even though I've got set hours and set times, I do make adjustments when and if needed, and then play catch up as I need to in the evening. So again, you can't be rigid in your discipline either. You've got to be able to let life happen and be a part of life as well. You just can't, I don't want to hide my office either. So again, I say that is a phenomenal question. That's actually, I think, the first time I actually specifically heard what discipline does each day. So That's a great question, and I'm going to think about that later on too. Maybe probably a better way of answering that, or maybe a more effective way. So again, thank you for that question. Not challenging as in, hey, you're challenged TJ Baird, but challenging the fact that I'm going to reflect on that. So again, thanks a lot. I really appreciate that one. I thought that was a great question.
That was a real good one. And
Yes.
when you're writing, does that therapeutic for you as well?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So this book that I'm getting ready to launch on Memorial Day weekend is about a dad. So if the whole story arc is a dad who deploys. His daughter is 6 years old, and that's the first illustration. He's leaving her hand in hand. And throughout his time, it's an amalgamation of all of my deployments. I've been deployed 9 times, combat deployments 9 times. And you see this warrior going through all these different things. And then when he gets home and he's watching his daughter grow, he's thinking about his daughter. And then the very last illustration, they're holding each other, and she's now a young adult around the age of 19 or 20.
Yeah.
And so the discipline there is like, it took me years to write this, right? I started with haikus, and then I started expanding the haikus out and everything, but it just took me a long time to put it all together because of the raw emotion I felt over thinking back on all these long years away from my family, and really about thinking about time and moments and memories than actual lengths of time spent at home, and then the memories I had with them. So that's and it was hard to write because it was very emotional. And I just remember writing the ode to my daughter's light. It's the last ode of the book, and that took me a long time because I just was writing it. I knew what I wanted to write. It was in my head and everything else, and I would think about it all the time. Would kind of go through it, but when I started putting pen to paper, there were like tears falling. Oh my God, I can't even write this dang thing. So it took me months to write it. And the last ode that I wrote, the ode to the one who shook me awake, was about we kind of talked about a guy who pulled me out of this where I was living in the attic during a mortar attack. And if it was not for this man, I'm on almost 23 years of borrowed time, because when I got back, I had shrapnel coming into shredded my cot and bed in the ground below it. So if I was still there, I would not have had any conversation after 2003. And so that's the longest ode in there, and it is specifically to him. And when he listens to this, he knows who he is. It's a phenomenal man. We've deployed many times together, been through a lot together. And if it was not for him today, I would not be here. I would not be enjoying the life I have now without this man to be able to go into a building that was getting hit by a mortar fire. So for him, that took a lot. I started that in January 2025, and that took me about 6 months to finish.
Wow.
And that's a story that I knew, that I lived. I lived all of it, but I mean, that was a very, very, very difficult to write. Came in fits and starts. And so for him, brother, thanks a lot for allowing me to write this book. Without him, I wouldn't be able to write this book. So yeah, very powerful moments.
Outstanding. Got 2 more questions popped in.
Sure.
This one is from at Sauce Not Gravy. Gatavia is probably his gravy. How can fathers apply battlefield lessons to raising resilient children?
Oh man, that is great. So yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I wrote this as well. Is it is an opportunity for us to really talk about what we went through over the course of our time while we're on the battlefield. Now, there are probably some moments in our time we're not going to get too specific with, because some of those details might be a little too tough for children, kids in general. And again, the reason why I wrote this specific book and the Adventures of Colbert, which is a children's book that's coming out a little bit later, is this: how can I tell my kids what I was thinking about, specifically about them, when I was deployed? When I'm on a ridge line at night, or in the next morning after a very long operation, and I look on one side and there's a lot of destruction. I look on the other side, and I look to the east in the morning. It's just crystal clear snow. The sun's rising, untouched. Everything's like the virgin snow, whatever it is, right in the mountains of Afghanistan at 12,000 feet. And it's a great opportunity to talk to your kid and say, you know what? I may not have been home every day. I may have missed this. I may have missed that. But no matter where I was in the world, no matter what I was doing, even if it was late at night at work, just down the road, whatever it was, you were always in my thoughts, because I have a young daughter. So for me, I'm a girl dad. she's my one and only. It is her light that brought me home. But if you have multiple kids, it is their, and you're obviously your wife, but especially the kids, right? It is their light that brought us home. It is their light that enshrouded us, that enshrined us, that inspired us, that kept us moving in the direction that we needed to go, that pulled us up out of those dark moments while we were deployed. And no matter what, that light kept us going. No matter, and when we talk about resiliency isn't just like, oh, I'm avoiding anything. No, it's I took a punch, I rolled with it, I got back up, I kept going. It's like my wife's, I got to say it's her famous tattoo, fall 7, rise 8. That's what resiliency is about. So when we talk about our time overseas, is get them part of it. Is like, I just thought of you when I was doing this, or I was getting ready to go on this operation, when I got home, and whatever, I got home, back up wherever we were, if it's like a forward operating base, a small one, maybe a large one like Kandahar or Baghdad or whatever, right? Always thought about my family. Always thought about that. During the heart of the operation, obviously not. You're actually very focused on what you're doing, because that would be a huge distraction, right? You don't want to do that. But in those moments where you have those peaceful moments, those time, whatever, just talk to your kids like, you brought me home. I thought about you. There are all these challenges in my time overseas, and maybe transitioning back home, get back into the swing of things with the family is, hey, remember this time when I came home after a long TDY, a long battlefield deployment, whatever it is, and there was some fits and starts there. So, me as a father, me as a mother, me as, pick up parents, whatever it is, right? Trying to get back in the swing of things with the family, because you've been gone so long. Remember how hard it was, and now look at it today. We're doing so much better because we as a family came together, we cherished each other, we championed each other, we stuck by each other. Those were the resilient moments. You can still talk about some of the mistakes we've made along the way. In fact, that's a great opportunity. It's a great healing opportunity. It took me a while to figure that out, and I'm doing that now with my daughter. Is I did make my mistakes along the way, and through that is, how do we get reforged? Right? I wrote an award-winning poem, really talked about being reforged. How do we, as an individual, how do we, as a family, how do we become reforged into something better as a family unit, friends unit, whatever the unit is, right? How do we do that through a resiliency process, through a reforging process? And that is a great way to talk to your kids about. And that's why I wrote. For me, I love writing. I love writing poetry. As a barrel chest freedom fighter, here's the things you don't tell people about poetry. Right, right. I was just talking to a guy named Andy. I don't know if he's on the line right now. He's again, back in the day, barrel chest freedom fighter. He wrote music, and we were talking about it. I was like, oh man, I love poetry, I love music, but I couldn't tell people that when I was in the military. They'd laugh me out the door. I was like, yeah, that's probably true. I don't tell anybody that too. Until I started transitioning out of the military and telling people like, hey, this is all the things I've written. I've got like, not books, but sheets of paper of all the things that I've written. So for that question right there, just talk about it. Just sit down with your family, just say thanks for being just amazing, and talk through all the goods and bads. And at the end of the day, is we're still together. We are a family, and that's the good resiliency piece of it. Is we have reforged into something greater than what we were before. We're not exactly like we were before, because that's never going to happen. In fact, I love the guy I was before. He's crazy dude and everything else. I had crazy orange red hair, but now I'm Arctic blonde and a little bit calmer down, right? But again, I like to talk about all the success I've had with my family, all the things that I've stumbled along the way, and thanking them for helping me out. So yeah, again, another great question. I love it.
We got 2 more good ones that popped in, so let's see.
Oh my gosh! Going. Okay,
here we go.
All right.
This is from @WoMan3. What challenges did you face building Warrior Dad Stories as a veteranpreneur?
Yeah. Okay. So I actually got ahead of myself. So I was doing a bunch of things before I even built a business. So I'm going to write this book. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I didn't have a business. I didn't have anything. I was just writing and just had this grand plan to publish a book.
Right.
So someone goes, hey, man, how you going to market it? When are you going to do this? You even have a business. I was like, no. So that was my challenge. And so I actually had to take a step back from the actual writing and creating the imagery. So I wrote everything, and then I did the AI art. But I was in the process of doing that, and I had to take the discipline to actually pause that. And that was at first a little frustrating because I was on a roll. I was having time doing it, and I realized, oh my gosh, I need to build a foundation behind this business. So I did a lot of research. I did it on majority of on my own when it comes to building the business on how do we do things because it costs a lot of money going through some different organizations. But I'll give you my experience. I was in Fayetteville, I was in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I went down to the Fayetteville courthouse, and for $26, I started my own business. If I had done that online, it would cost me $800, not $1,000. So I just did that on my own. I got my EIN. Once I did that, I got my EIN, which is my I want to say enterprise identification number. I probably got the wrong thing with this, but it's my tax ID is what it is, right, for a business. And then from there, I said, okay, what do I need to do? I built a business plan, which is great. Which a lot of mission statement is really all what I wanted to do. Once I did that, I built my own website. Now, I was at the TBI clinic, so I did reach out to Evan Swanson, and he helped me out to how to do the last 15%, which was great. And he's actually been a great mentor for me too, how to continue to update and build my website. But I've learned along the way. So for everybody who is a veteran entrepreneur and you've never built a website, or you've had someone do it for you, hey man, here's what you got to do. I went through pick your site that's going to support you, whatever it is. I rolled up ChatGPT on half of my screen, my site on the other side. So this is what I want to do. And I started following instructions, and we were bouncing things back and forth. And because you can do all this stuff online, you can do all this stuff on YouTube, but it just takes a while. But right now I had literally a list of instructions on how to do stuff. And then if it didn't match up, I'd have to go back and do a little bit of research that way. So allow an AI system to help you get going. That'd be great. And then there's also in Fayetteville, and this was specific to the team at the VOBC Veterans Office Bureau in Fayetteville State, and that's where the office was. They helped quite a bit on giving me some resources who I need to reach out to and everything else. So for those that are transitioning, have transitioned, especially for those that are currently in the process, try the Boots to Business program through TAP for SFL TAP. It is phenomenal. It gives you a lot of information on how to create your own business. And if you already have your business, it's okay to go back and do it. I actually took a class about 6-7 months after I put my business together. I still learned quite a bit. I'm still learning quite a bit. I'm still connected with the team back there in Fayetteville. And then reach out to your Chamber of Commerce and get connected with them as well, especially with small business bureaus you have out there. And then as a disabled veteran business as mine is, get connected because they'll advocate for you, which is fantastic. So that's one of the things I just I've been connected with the Lawton Chamber of Commerce with Matt Tranquil, and I was out here. I was just when I was down visiting my brother in Lawton, Oklahoma. And last night I just met a guy named Randy who works for the Chamber of Commerce here as well in Omaha, Nebraska. And so we're going to get together, talk with some veterans groups and everything else, and I just asked how I can do that and help out, how I can be part of the veterans community here in the local area. So again, your Chamber of Commerce is a huge resource, and I would always look to talk with them as well. So that's, again, great question. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. If you ever want to reach out, hit me up. I think I got my contact information, Rich. If that'll get out there, hopefully somewhere in the comments. Hit me up. I've got a checklist that I use. I'll push it out to anybody. I'll push it out to a few other people, and it's and then if you have any ideas, if I send you a checklist, you want to add stuff to it, send it back to me. I would appreciate that too, because it'll help me help others as well and myself. So thanks a lot.
Definitely. I've been adding all your links into the chat as we're talking.
Thanks.
I'm putting your website, your LinkedIn, your Facebook.
Nice.
And then, of course, you've been talking about, I'll show your website here in a minute after we get this last audience question, then we'll go to contact you and such and that. This one's another great name on this one here. This is at Lunacy Rocks. What does legacy truly mean to you today?
Oh, yes. So a couple of different things. One, so legacy from my time in the military, for all the folks I mentored through there and watching them grow now. So I've got a young was a young man named Sergeant Josh Badger. He was an E4. I was a brigade sergeant major, and phenomenal soldier. Older, a little longer in the tooth. He came in the Army a little bit older in life because it's just what he just did, and really saw what he can do, what he really wanted to do. And so, put the word out, if you ever want to come and chat, let me know. So he did. He came in my office. We had a great chat, and we stayed together. We stayed connected. He's a staff sergeant now, which is really good. He's getting ready to get down to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and working in the JSOC community, which I think is phenomenal. It's where he needs to be. I talked about now Warrant Officer 1, Jenna Ingalls. I've got several other folks. My last executive assistant, Air Force, soon to be tech sergeant, is Elizabeth Boyko. And then I had a sergeant first class, Nichelle Holmes, who are, again, very phenomenal individuals. That's just a small group of folks, most recent kind of folks I've been linked in with and mentoring. And watching them grow into their own as leaders has been, so when they talk about leaving a legacy of unstoppable leaders, that's who they are. And now as I transition out, doing stuff like this, how can I share my experience? And Rich, that's why I'm really glad that Eric got us connected. He gets an opportunity to talk experiences, ask look at the questions asked, be able to respond and reflect on some of these questions later on, because I know I will. How do I help others out through my experiences live? How can I connect us through an experiential, not learning, but just experiences? Because we may not all have the same experience, but what we've gone through in life may be somewhat tangentially shared. And how can we share those stories of success? How do we share those stories of failure and what we did to overcome those to make us better in the long run, not just us, but in our team? And then with the stories that I've written is how can I, like the question that was earlier about how do I talk about to kids about resiliency from my time in the battlefield, is tell your story. That's for everybody that's out there, from parents to leaders to whomever. Tell your story, and not always the great stories, right? Because we could all have some. Look, everybody's got some phenomenal stories,
right? But
the best stories to tell are the ones that we fell on our face, learned a heck of a lesson, stood back up, brushed ourselves off, and it may have taken us a little bit longer to get there. I know it took me a long time to get to where I am today, based on some of the things in my life. I'm sure I share that with a lot of others. And how we get and how we move forward. Those are the stories that are very impactful. But make it a story. Tell the story, and then be lively about it. And then say, hey, this did happen in my life, but even though it affected me negatively then, now I use it as a phenomenal teaching moment. Or it was a great moment in my life. Yeah, even though all the successes that we have, there's some stumbling moments along the way. Talk about those stumbling moments, even though it's a great success in your life. Because I think a lot of people out there, I mean, I know for me, I have stumbled and fallen more times than I've succeeded. Right? Because you stumble and fall as you go. Right? WD-40. Why is it WD-40? Because the first 39 failed. So that guy kept on going. So, right. And again, I go back to my wife's thing is when you talk about leaving a legacy of unstoppable leaders, just remember you can fall 7, but you can rise 8. You can keep going. And there are a lot of things that will happen in all of our lives. It's all different crucibles. But there are resources out there that help us to reforge us to make us better from that crucible to move on and continue to tell our story. So again, another great question, and thanks for letting me answer that one. That's the first time that's the first time. And then Rich, if you don't mind, can you send me those questions? Because that's the first time I've actually had that question. I would love to have that, because I want to maybe frame that answer a little bit better next time somebody asks me that. So that's phenomenal. So thank you very much for that question. That was great.
Outstanding. And like I said, the next question was going to be, how do we get in contact with you? I'll pop your website up on here with us.
Great.
And share it with us.
And then, thanks. And then the Creative Forge is where you see a lot of my works, obviously contact everything, but the Creative Forge, if you scroll down, you can punch on those buttons right there. It says read, and it'll pop up. But if you see Reforged, a personal healing journey, that is my award-winning poem for my time. And with really thanking all the men and women, not only that were in the program with me, but most importantly, the men and women who were in the program supporting us, the staff, the doctors, the therapists, everything, because there's a lot of different things that allowed us to kind of pick up the pieces, mold us back into something that is phenomenal, and then push us out the door and say, hey, do great things. So to them, to the entire team at Prep, I hope they're watching it now. Thank you. Thank you for an incredible 10 weeks. Thank you for reforging this cat right here and allowing me to now live a better life than I had before coming to the program. So thanks a lot for that. And my contact information is totally on there. So please reach out. Love to hear from you. And Rich, and for anybody out there, if you're on the Peloton, hit up TJ Warrior Dad. We'll get some rides in. You let me know. Be great. That's the only thing that's not on my website. I got to pop that on there. I'm a Peloton guy. I love to ride. I don't run anymore, much like you. I've got a lot of injuries. I'll do some riding.
Heck yeah. And my final question, if you've seen any of our shows before, is it's a hard one. And I think you already answered it earlier in the show, but what's 3 things the Misfit Nation can start doing tomorrow to be better people?
Yeah. So I wouldn't even say be better tomorrow and start. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep getting folks on here and tell their story. Because that's 1, 2, and 3. Keep telling our stories, because as I listen to your podcasts, listened to the Dad Edge when I was on there recently. I'm getting ready to go on Tracer Brown and a few others. And I listen to all these folks talk about their stories. And within those stories, you get these great lessons learned. And they're all different experiences, but they all resonate because it's amazing. Because they're just people telling, they're not talking at us and not talking down to you. They're like, hey, I'm going to share this story of a life event or a series of life events. And then you have that conversation with the host. And right now it's you and the team, Rich. And I think it's phenomenal. Is keep doing that. Never stop doing that. Well, at some point, you're probably like, hey, I'm going to be retired. So I get that. But I'm going to retire for the second time. But keep doing what you're doing, because it's a great opportunity, and it's great that your audience is asking all these questions, because that's when you know you have a good podcast, is especially as a host, is you have a very interactive audience, and they're asking these questions. And if it wasn't for a good host, you wouldn't have a great audience. So keep doing that. I think it's great. And just keep telling your stories. For everybody out there, one, take the courage to tell your story, because it wasn't easy. And I'll do this on that. I just had this discussion before, is when I was at Fort Houston, I was going to go to behavioral health. I walked in and I was in my uniform, a very senior non-commissioned officer, E9, bunch of young Joes in there. They freaked out. I'm like, hey, I'm here the same as you are. I got demons to battle, and I'm here to battle with them. So for all you in here battling demons, good and good on you. Like, you're not here to you rat on us? Like, no, bro. No, I'm here the same reason you are. I'm battling demons. So for everybody out there, parents, lovers, grandparents, family members, especially leaders, tell your story and be honest with it. Encourage it. And I encourage you to do that and tell a good story, because that's what resonates, is a good story with a great lesson. And that's what you do on the Misfit Nation. It's incredible, brother. It is incredible. So that is what I wanted. That's a great 1, 2, 3 right there for you. Yeah,
I appreciate that. That's awesome. And
yeah, thanks.
Take heed to that. Get more people to come on and share their stories, so maybe we all can learn different ways to do things tomorrow. That's awesome.
Yeah, love it.
TJ, thank you for hanging out with us for this last hour. Macaroni, thanks for being quiet over there and just laying down. I wish my labs would do that. I don't think anyone's labs do that right there. That's awesome. So thank you for having a great openness with your story tonight too, TJ.
Thanks, Rich. And then I need to get your address, so when my book does get published, I can send you a signed copy, brother.
Awesome. I'll send you that with the questions after I get off here.
Thanks. And then download the companion guide on my website. It tells you all the backstory of what I did and how I wrote the book. And that answers a lot of some of the questions that folks have been asking out here too. So yeah, thanks a lot for everything.
Jake said, way to set the example. That was a great leadership moment.
Thanks. And I want to say I love the picture of Jake's dog. Beautiful.
That's little tiny Silvio. He's a King Corso.
My brother had a Kanye Corso named Tiki. Loved her. Great dog.
That guy likes to run right into your kneecap with that big head. It's awesome.
Right.
He loves to help your medical and physical well-being.
Right.
TJ, like I said, thank you for being on. Misfit Nation, take heed to everything you learned tonight. And remember, if you're feeling down and you see that darkness closing in on you, don't be afraid to call 988. If you don't want to call 988, call us. Call your friends that are on that little card that's in your wallet. There's 3 names that should be on that card. We've been telling you to do this for 600 episodes now. Call those 3 people. They want to hear from you tomorrow. They want to hear from you the next day, because a day with you tomorrow is 100% better than one without you. Do the things that make you feel good. I know when you're in the moment, you want to just close out, but don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. We're here for you. Contact us here at the Misfit Nation, info@themisfitnation.com, Jake@themisfitnation.com, or Steven@themisfitnation.com. We will get with you. We will keep you on the line until someone local can make sure you're in that safe space and keep you with us. Until next time, everyone, be humble, stay hungry, and just keep hustling, because you know who we are.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.